Welcome to As the Crow Flies Hiking. Today I'm going to set up the Featherstone Obsidian one-person tent. Now this is a poled tent as opposed to their backbone tent. I have the backbone one that they sent me to review and look at, and I really like that tent. But they've also sent me now the Obsidian, which has poles on it, so no trekking poles on this. And I'm excited to check it out and see what the features are, but first I'm going to undo it for the first time, set it up and kind of look around it and see what I got. And then I'm gonna have it for 4 nights out here and just see what it does. So let's get started with the setting up of the Obsidian one by Featherstone. So the first thing I notice is taking out of the bag, you have the inner body, the outer body of the tent, which should be the rainfly. You're giving a bunch of stakes, which is really nice. So I'll check out those stakes and see what they have. They also have a strap that goes around. So if you didn't want to carry the bag, you could have that strap. And then they have the poles, which are in a separate bag. This could be a footprint for the tent. If it is, that would be awesome, but we'll check that out in a second. Now let's set it up and see how it works. It does have a footprint, which tells me that you can do 2 things. Number 1, you can protect the bottom of your tent with that footprint. And number 2 is, I believe I'm gonna be able to set it up without the inner mesh and just use the rainfly and attach it with the poles, but I'll see that in a minute if it really works. So now I just set the poles down and put it back together, and it looks like it is a one hub design. Now, I didn't do any research on this tent because I wanted to just kind of have that Christmas morning, like a little kid experience of opening it up and seeing what I got. And now we'll see how it all works together. I love this design. I love the hub system of the one pole, so you don't have to worry about multiple poles and losing them. And I love the fact that the pole will attach to the footprint. So like I said, I can take the internet off if I not have a buggy situation and just use the fly and footprint to create a tarp kind of setup and ultralight. I think this comes in around 2.5 pounds, which is super light. And then it has little stays on the bottom, which I've seen in the backbone tent. And those stays pull out to create kind of the form of the tent and give it the structure that you need. Really nice. They give you these smaller shepherd hooks that have the 3-sided so that it really goes in well into the ground and you can be used in muddy conditions. They also give you some guy line. I'm just gonna worry about these stakes and see if I can stake it out and have the form of the tent. What I see is it's really wide, which is good. This will accommodate at least a 25-inch pad, which I like in a one-person tent. So enough kind of to put some gear in there if you had a 20-inch pad or whatever. It does kind of narrow down at the bottom, but not much. And it really attaches well to the top. So now I'm gonna put the rainfly on, and I've got all these extra stakes I will use for whatever I need. Love how the tautness is on the top. I've still gotta attach those and we'll look at it. A couple of things that I've now noticed is, number 1, great headroom. You can sit up in there. It's really long. I'll put the link down the bottom. I didn't even look at that, but plenty of room for your pad, even a long pad, and plenty wide. In fact, I think I'll be able to get a lot of my gear in there. Next, it's got a little basket on top, an area to hang stuff in. It's also got a place to hang a light. It's also got a pocket, and you can roll back these doors if you want to. Love the D-shaped door instead of the pull down door. That's really nice because it stays off of you and you can cinch it up if you need to. Now I'm going to put the fly on and take a look at that. Now setting up the rainfly, everything buckles in. You have 2 buckles on the head end, and you can cinch it out so that the rainfly is very taut on the end and give you a little airflow underneath. But not only that is, they've added a vent on top with a little stay that keeps air flowing in there, which is great, especially for a 1-person tent. But since it's 2-wall, you should be good and should have plenty of ventilation underneath. You can see it doesn't go all the way to the ground, so you should have a little bit of airflow underneath. And then it buckles at the bottom in the middle, and you simply attach the guidelines of the 2 corners at the bottom to the stakes that you already have. I love how Featherstone has made these buckles so it's super easy, real intuitive to put together. You just look for the 2 buckles for the head, 1 buckle for the middle at the bottom. And the rainfly is a very nice denier. I'll put on the screen what it is, but it feels really nice to the touch and should be coated, silicone coated, so it should last a long time. You also have room on the other side, which is not a open door area, but you could put your gear or your backpack on the other side because it pulls out away from the inner nest of the tent. Come along with me inside the tent and we'll take a look at what the features are. The first thing you'll notice is look at all the room. I'm sitting up, I've got another 6-7 inches of room, and that is great. A lot of these one-man tents are really low, but this gives you a lot of room. And then on the inside, lay down, I'm almost 6 feet. I can lay my head back against here, and I've got probably another 6-7 inches at the bottom. The one pole that runs across the ridge gives you a lot of room in the bottom. I know a lot of tents you'll be laying in and your feet, because of your sleeping pad and then the sleeping bag, will essentially touch and get moisture or condensation on you. But not this one, because the ridge pole keeps the tent up and away from your feet. Now, what I really like about behind me is this huge pocket here. You can put a bunch of stuff in here, all the things that you need to grab, like your headlamp. And then this vent up here, if you can see it, this vent gives a little bit of room for airflow to come in and out. And then the back side, you could take your backpack and put it underneath here, and plenty of room down here for an extra gear to keep out of the rain. I have noticed that there are reinforced corners and reinforced at the places of tension, which is very important, and Featherstone has figured that out. So where there is tension, Featherstone knows that you want to make sure you've got something that's going to be reinforced, because if you don't, you could have rips, and they've done that. I'll show you these. It has 2 toggles on the doors. These toggles can pull the door way away from you, and it's separated by about maybe 2 or 3 inches away from the inner nest, so you shouldn't have condensation. Condensation, because of this ridge, should go down the rainfly and not attach to your netting. Featherstone really has thought a lot about everything. I can put my shoes here in the vestibule. I can put my pack here in the vestibule. And because this is a wide floor, you can put a sleeping pad as well as some of your gear inside the tent. To me, it really feels like a 1.5 person tent because of all the room. It does taper down a little bit. I'd have to look at the specs, but not much. So you could still put all you needed inside this tent. One other feature that I'll show you that I really like is, if you can see up there where the rainfly is attached, it has a pocket that the poles go in, and that pocket is super reinforced by a very durable fabric, and that sheath that it has keeps those poles from poking into your rainfly, and that's on both sides. I love the side entrance. The side entrance makes everything so much easier because you can pull your legs out and just go straight out of the tent without having to crawl in front to the tent. So the side entrance is crucial, and they have thought of just about everything on this tent. But right now, this is the first impressions of the Obsidian 1 by Featherstone. I love Featherstone. I love their products. The quilt that I have, the 20-degree quilt, is absolutely fantastic. Best purchase I've ever made, and it was basically half the price of some of the quilts on the market. And these tents are super affordable, and they're high quality. The Backbone 1 and this Obsidian, really good stuff. So definitely check them out, because you can get into backpacking, or for long term, you can be into backpacking for a long time and get these tents and use them on all occasions, because they're super light, they're affordable, and they have all the features that other tents have. Well, that'll about conclude this episode of As the Crow Flies Hiking and the first impression of the Obsidian 1. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.